Your eyes tell me everything I wanna hear. Your eyes show me. You stupid. Your eyes tell me everything I wanna hear. Your eyes show me everything you stupid. Why would anyone go to a show at a house if there's an abundance of venues? Like, we're not putting on shows in literally someone's backyard in Doonside because there's a better option. It's the only option. We're not like choosing it over venues. There's no other venues that we get to choose from. It's like, without Doonside, that show doesn't happen. It's not like, oh, we can put this show on at Doonside or we can put it on anywhere else. It's like, this show goes on at Doonside or it doesn't happen. Like, there's no date for this show. Like, this band doesn't get to play this show with their friends. Like, it doesn't happen. The lack of venues is like definitely a big part of why we put shows on. Like, they had this show booked and they're like, do you guys want to play this show? It was really cool, it was all organised. Last minute, venue completely pulled out. We had to put it on at Doonside because there was no other venues available. There's not a lack of fans. There's not a lack of bands. There's not a lack of people buying merch or listening to music. The issue is there's nowhere for people to go and see music. Like, everything's there. The infrastructure exists, but there's just nowhere for us to put on shows. The lifespan of a venue in Sydney is only a couple of years. Like, I think Black Wire Records was 7 years, and that's like an eternity. Blackwire Records was a DIY venue on Parramatta Road. And it was a record store, but it was predominantly a space. It was like a safe space. And what happened was the council decided to keep upping their rent, and it eventually got to the point where they could no longer continue to operate. It's gone, and it's not coming back. Nothing has filled that void. There's no new venues. It's not easy to run a show in a backyard all of the time. Like, recently we had issues with the police on the Friday night. They came and I had a long conversation with them, and they were really cool about it. Like, they could have easily shut us down if they wanted to, but like, luckily we'd called them in advance. They basically just had the conversation I had with them again and gave us a few more hours. They said they were coming back if we didn't finish in time, and they didn't come back. I think they told us to be done by 10:30 and we were done by like 11:30, and they never came back, which was cool. But like, that, and also bands, like, occasionally, like, a band will come unprepared, or some gear will break, or like we'll have an issue with like the power. So like, for example, we don't run a generator or anything outside, and the place where we put on the show is fairly distant, so we run like this really elaborate like extension cable system over a shed to power the desk, and then everything is like powered through that. We're losing money on house shows. Like, everyone is spending their money to put shows on and to play shows. There's no one getting paid at all. Newcastle has plenty of house shows. Canberra has it worse than us. They're one of the only places that has it worse than us. They run lots of house shows. But it was strange to us, as people that have literally no other option than to put on house shows, to have people actually not understand what a house show is and think that no one would show up. The main reason we put on shows is because there's just a total lack of venues in Sydney. I mean, and the shelf life of them's not long, so even when a new one does pop up, it's just like a matter of counting down the days till the venue closes. Even recently at Vivid, a show got shut down at 9:30 p.m. because it was too loud. 9:30 p.m. Shows in other states start that late, but in Sydney, that's not on. I mean, I just like watching good lineups of bands. Like, that's why we do it. It's like, we like going to shows. So, not only do we want to give the bands the opportunity to play the shows themselves, but it's like, we like attending shows, we like playing shows. Well, just an awareness that there's actually is a scene in Sydney. Because, like, the popular belief is that, like, live music is dead in Sydney. But it's not. The bands exist. Like, people come to shows. Like, that's not the issue. There's just lots of people talking about it. And I mean, they've been saying that for years. The shows still happen. It's just a different venue every month. Petersham Bowling Club's a new venue. We played there a few weeks ago. It's like underneath a club that was really chill. Like, we want to create an environment where when people see a show at Doonside, they don't just want to be like, oh, it's like a show at Doonside. They want to be like, hell yeah, a show at Doonside, let's go to that. Like, we want people that like the space and will come back to the space. I mean, ideally, we would be throwing house shows at not just one house. You know, we would have we talked about slowly moving out west more. So like, we show in Penrith, maybe moving to the mountains eventually, but that's like long term. Even just like different spaces, you know, not necessarily staying at house shows. Like, we book other shows as well occasionally. Like, we dip our toes in again there. Yeah, just like being able to showcase more art in general, not necessarily just music, but just like art and artists, like whatever format that may be. Just like, because the more people that come, the more people experience new stuff. If you can do well at a house show, like, there's definitely, you can get a buzz behind that. Like, I mean, there's nothing sicker than being like, oh, did you go to that house show, that band, he did a front flip off the fucking shed. Like that shit's cool. The most heartwarming thing I can probably say is, like, quite a few bands have gone into house shows with very low expectations and come out saying they're the best shows or funnest shows they've ever played. Like, we've had in-state bands that were like not aware of what a house show is come out being like, we would play one of these again, that's one of the funnest shows we've ever played. I feel like just unanimously people love playing floor spaces. There's no degree of separation between artist and like show goer. Like, it's weird to play on a stage. Like, that elevation's just not right. If you like a band and they're playing a show, go see them. Like, it's easy. Like, don't just stream their shit on Spotify or fucking pirate if people still do that shit. Buy the shirt. Like, you can give them money so that they can afford to get fuel to the next show. Because they're not making any money. Like, for them to play music for you pay for, that still costs them money. Or it's costing the promoter money. Or both, generally. Like, no one's cutting even. Like, no one's making money. Like, come and enjoy the show. or like shut up.